Yeah, what is that supposed to be? Is this station eers? Obviously it's not station eers. I'm trying something completely new, and this will probably fail. I mean, most probably fail, because because my chair is very loud. No, because whenever you do something new, some complete flow change, then you're burdened with the highest probability of things not working out because you're not yet in there. Also, I'm trying something that is also, I'm trying to program something basically live. I mean, I'm probably going to live cut by pausing the recording. And I don't even know what yet exactly. See, I was thinking about, now I have to be careful with my words so I don't send people in the wrong expectations. In station eers, you have your astronaut suit, where you're consuming the oxygen and such, and I find that fascinating. You have the air mixture going on, the pressure and all of that, and I wanted to toy with ideas like that. Now, don't expect anything like Steam stuff, three-dimensional graphics, no, nothing, just very dry stuff, numbers games. Oh, look, the pressure is increasing, that kind of stuff, maybe. Okay, so, yeah, let's see where we want to go. Certainly it should be, since there would be a real-time, since there would be a real-time updates, I wouldn't use a console, you know, I wouldn't use a printout that is just updated all the time. This would at least have a graphic user interface. So, let's make one. Dum. Oh, did I mention there will be a lot of mistakes? Yes, because this is completely bonkers to do, basically. I mean, I have no game plan, you know, literally. So this would switch from the main thread to the swing thread and would make the instance of the thing and start the application. So now we want a window. I'm not going to use any libraries, it's just going to be the just pure Java. I'm using Corretto 17 from Amazon. Amazon took Java, the OpenJDK, and optimized it and fixed it and polished a few things. I still found a bug or two that they haven't yet fixed, but anyway, it's the standard that we also use at the office, so it's very good. It also has long-term support and it's free. Final JFrame. No, not that. Frame. Window and private, please. Everything shall be locked down as hard as it can be. And this would be a pause moment, wouldn't it be? Yeah, let's do a pause moment. Yep. Does this do anything? Cool. Okay. Yes, there's a window now. Ooh, unfathomable. Bit too bright for my taste. Oh. Okay, now maybe a text box that could show us some update of whatever simulation we might be having there. Num. Why would it even suggest that? Sometimes I don't get IntelliJ. I mean, it would really suggest here things that would then lead to an error. This, for example. at the top even. No, the first one being being something that doesn't work. Why would that suggest that? That doesn't make sense. I mean, if I would improve this thing maximally, I would certainly make sure that the first entry that you would choose when you press tab will be one that will not cause a compile error right away. I don't get it. By the way, I'm changing. I'm having. I'm using different order of the Java keywords. I don't know, I think final is the last one normally and static before private or whatever. I don't know, I don't care, because that is wrong. The standard is wrong. People are doing it wrong. I know there's a standard and people should follow it. I don't care. I will try to do it the way I like it. For example, I've observed that few people use the final keyword. Final meaning that this can no longer be changed, that is really a constant. Maybe up there, yeah, or in class fields, but variables also. I will have stuff like that in my code, and I will not do it like this. Oh, it didn't even work, I didn't know that. I will have this order. Final at the beginning, because final is basically optional. You can also leave it out. The code will still work without it, in many cases. So sometimes I will have final and sometimes I will not have final, and this way I can easily distinguish between whether I have it, because it's right at the beginning. And it's the softest, fluffiest thing. Then we have private or public and such. This has more function, and so it is less optional, but it's still kind of soft. And then we have whether static or not static. That is even harder still, but still soft, still changeable. And then we have the hard thing itself, the type. See, from soft to hard, and do the softest things first, because the most optional things. They are the most optional things, and so I see immediately whether I did that thing that would otherwise maybe just forget, because it's so soft. The code is not forcing me to do it. I find that reasonable, and therefore that's the way I'm doing it. So, text, what font do we set? Can we even? I don't know. Or even what it want now? Size. Oh, size is good. Let's see if that is actually being done. And add some text then. Or I can just do it. I'll do it live. Is there text here? Oh yeah, there's text. Only it's not Liberation Mono or something. I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. Well, let's pause this then. That was easy. I just had to leave out the suns. Name was wrong. So here we would have some display that can constantly update. Maybe I should set that to locked. Come on. Whatever. So set editable locked. That was Visual Basic 6, right? Set editable. And get some kind of simulation situation running, where I would have a thread that keeps doing stuff and keeps updating. So final thread T, that's the way to go. I found it completely fascinating that it was so easy back then when I switched to Java, that you can just toss out threads and do multi-threading. That is fucking awesome, man. So what code do we want? Basically simulate, and then we want to use update on the swing thread. which doesn't exist yet, but then it does. And this also. See, oh right, that's with the entire thread code, right? That's not good enough. While true, we want to run that indefinitely for eternity. And we want to sleep a little bit, maybe at the beginning even. Let's say we have a half-second step like in station eers, because it's nice when it comes, for example, to numbers updating on the screen. You can easily follow it, but it also feels fluent. T is set, daemon, true, because the thing shall just die if the rest of the application would also close. I mean, exit on close is not too subtle, it doesn't require any support, but yeah. Set daemon true, T start. You can also set the name, I don't care, it's not necessary. So let's just say we have, this is of course all dirty in one class. I mean, what do you expect? I have no preparation. Let's say, for whatever reason, I will just call it pressure. Float or double? Let's go double. Private double pressure. 0. Or maybe we should start with electricity and solar panels. That feels nice. So let's say power. Let's be cool about it and say joules. The thing that in station eers is for whatever reason missing. Joules. Yeah, it would be nice. Think about things that in station eers are there, but or not there, and you think, why is that not in there, or why is that behaving like that? And then make it behave the way we want. Not that I have a good idea about that yet. No, I mean what you know about this, observing me doing this and talking about this, is about the amount that I know myself by now. So, what's this? Yeah, then replace it with a method reference. Why is it saying event log? Oh. This doesn't make sense. Oh, I done goofed a little bit. So, in simulate, I will just say joules plus plus. I will just count up the energy, but that's, you know, to have, so that we have something going. Then I will say text, set text, so we have a string builder. I will say SB add append and string value of, what do I need? Not need this joules. But this won't look nice, so let's come on, let's format that. In principle, we should now see the text change 2 times per second, and there should actually be a change visible. Let's see if it does. Let's see if that's what we see. Yeah, okay. So, now we have a game. Well, we don't, no. We could add a solar panel. So, but it would be interesting to think in terms of devices. So let's just create a class and call it solar panel. Not private. And then, for example, have it have a health. Now having to repair things all the time is not as interesting. So why would I have a class for this? I mean, there's not much simulation going on here. Tricky. Let's not think too deeply, because then that gets boring and is no longer fun. A new interface. I don't care about patterns and naming convention. I don't care about any of that. I just want to get shit done. And if anyone gets in my way, like health not like that, then I'm like, dude, why you spoke that sentence? I wrote a class. Fuck off. Okay. Public, we don't need that. Simulate. Void? Yeah. What's happening? Oh, right. I need an interface. Then let's implement it here with solar panel. And then we can just say here in main. Final lists things. That's of course reasonable for the IDE to suggest the wrong thing every time. Find the music a bit loud. Why is it so loud? Things. And now we will add a solar panel. Things, add a new solar panel. And then in the simulation we run through all things and call simulate. So we iterate over the things simulate, and I don't know what exactly that would be. Maybe we need also a game data class so that we have, for example, our current joules and such. And maybe I should move the things over there because that would also be part of the game data, right? This should be public. Main string, we don't need this. Yeah, actually, what I'd like to do, I mean, this might be shitty programming, but well, that's kind of how I roll. Then I get shit done, things work, my programs work reliably. At the office, basically, we're linear on that. I mean, the data conversion things that are running at many customers' places, that's one big piece of software I wrote. It's just running, it just works, no problems. So, public static main main. And then as soon as that thing is made, suck. So now we have access globally to this. And here I will just pretend as if a save game had been loaded by just saying I will add a solar panel, which is what the save game loader would do if there were one. And I'm not too keen on serialization, you know, saving and loading. So I had a wicked idea. I'm not sure if I pull this off. This is certainly for this little session here. That would be I write a Java program that has that simulates something, and then I write another Java program in which I can then access that simulation, and then I would create things, solar panels or whatever, in that other Java program, which would then tie in the simulation. So if something in the simulation is wrong, like no more gas in the station, then I would have to write the respective device in the other Java program and run it. But I've seen that there's tons of problems with that. I could so easily cheat, like just add atmosphere or whatever, so not the way to go. Just fantasies, like this video will probably not be uploaded at all, I don't know. So, what is this? Can be local, don't care. Window consists of GUI, then we have the game data, then we have this. Let's put it in the game data. Then I would say just set text game data create report, and we move this stuff over. Of course it has been made private, which is of course idiotic. I mean, I defined it like make new methods private, but when I created method from over here, then obviously the intent is to call it from over here. Why is it then private? There's just the IntelliJ team, which is an awesome team, obviously. I mean, look at this thing, it's even free. Being asleep at the wheel, what else is that? So, simulate would then be, well, game data simulate, of course. Game data simulate. Or can we just call it right in game data? No, maybe there's something around this here, also dealing with GUI, checking whether there's game data in the first place. So here we have the method simulate, run application. Why do I even have that? Well, force of habit. For more complex applications certainly makes sense. And who knows how complex this will become. So create report, return whatever you have built there. And then simulate thing simulate. The simulate call should in turn get the game data, in other words this. Now that shall be added to all the methods, all the classes that implement this interface. And then we have public access to Joules. How professional to make it public. Do you get that? I know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. No, you have to always. You have to, I have to always. I have to. And always. Both these sentences and the overall sentence do not make sense. Void simulate game data. Solar panel. So the solar panel now has access to the game data. And let's go to the to the interface definition and already say never null. So here we say then game data joules plus, although well, simulate here is not so very uninteresting. We could find out if there's even sun exposure, but let's first roll with this. I mean, this has been enough change without a run. Here we're adding something to the joules. Here we are showing the joules. Basically we should also see this happening now. Funny enough, what we're seeing is exactly as before. I mean, what was I expecting? But let's say we have a sun situation. Should we have an orbit even? I mean, why not? We can do that. So let's say game data. This is also, I imagine how it was until like 4 months or 6 months ago when Rocketworks started then to implement this actual Kepler simulation of all the planets and moons, which are always there, no matter which world you play. Very cool. Because before you were just in this arena, in this on the stage where the sun was moving, but the sun was only a thing that rotated around you. It was basically geocentric. And this is what this is right now. Not that I want to compare this with stationeers, you know, I'm not an idiot, I'm not a wanker, not pretentious. I'm just saying I'm toying around with this. So, public double joules, because I don't have to make myself bigger than I am. Just the level where I am, and that's what it is. I mean, why pretend? What good does it do? I mean, do lies feel good? Sometimes, but ultimately they shouldn't. And once you have learned that, you don't pretend. Just don't. This is of course easier for non-religious people, I would assume. Now, public double joules. We know the sun, let's say the orbit location. The question though is, what world time do we have? 24 hours? Probably not, huh? I don't know. We could basically use a 24-hour cycle and then have some kind of turbo mode where the simulation will just run without the half-second pause. Depends on how complex this will become. There will certainly not be a 3D simulation. Maybe there will be some 2D graphics, top-down view, some building blocks editor. I don't know. No clue. I don't know where this will be heading. This is just... I mean, I wanted to buy some water in town. And then I looked out the window. It was raining. And so now I'm doing this. That's what this is. That's the level on which we're playing. Not that I didn't want to do such a thing ever. Yes, I did. I was thinking about this in recent days, and now I'm just doing it. So the sun. Where is the sun? Is the sun a thing? Basically it is, isn't it? Let's make it a thing then. Java class sun. But how would the solar panel then find out whether it has a sun? I mean, will it just browse all the things and find out, oh, there's a sun, okay, then I have light. Or will this rather be a statement made by the sun telling the world how lit it is? That makes sense. So let's say that. We say here public a double light exposure. I don't know. Would I use watts? I don't even know what number to use then, man. Yeah, I mean, I would rather use a fantasy number because I don't know if watts makes sense or how many watts would make sense. So before I do something stupid, I would just use fantasy numbers. Light exposure is 0. Now, if there's a sun in play, the sun can then define what the light exposure is based upon its own knowledge. Alrighty then. We will add a sun. New sun. How many suns do we have? Let's say 1. But we can have 2 then now, of course. Create class sun, destination package, whatever. But maybe we want to create a sub-package that is called things. And we move the sun and the solar panel over there. And then I wonder why this is not unfolded automatically, because that would certainly be conducive. Yeah, that's an IDE, isn't it? Not that I'm complaining about the one in Stationeers. I mean, goddammit, they pulled off an IDE in Stationeers. There are all these horizontal lines that you're in there. It's very line-oriented, isn't it? That's kind of clear. They are textures that are being calculated. That's also why it takes it so long to open the editor once lots of text has changed when you're switching to a different source code. Game data, simulate sun. Now, the sun will have an orbit location. I will make that private for now. Private orbit location equals 0, and float would be enough. And then with every simulation step we will add a little bit to the orbit location. I don't know how much. Let's just say orbit location we will add 0.01, and so I'm defining a circle here as a value from 0 to 1, which is very convenient for programmers. So I can say orbit location. Yeah, this will use a modulo, and so if orbit location divided by 1, we will get. Wait, does that make sense? Yes, we will get, of course, how. Let's say the orbit location keeps adding, so we will eventually be at 7.5 or something. And then I divide that by 1. Guess what? That's still less than a 7. But the modulo doesn't give us the division result, it gives us the remainder. And the remainder of 7.5 divided by 1 is 0.5. And the remainder of 1 divided by 1 is 0. So in other words, we get a number here from 0 to 0.5, 0.7, 0.9999999, but then that's it. That's the end of it. So that's what this should do. This should be like the full circle. But how do we then gauge the light in the world? I could use a sinus and cosinus and stuff here, but why? I can just... Or does it make sense? Well, the higher up the sun is... Well, there will certainly be some kind of radius relationship there. I mean, I can't just say it's going towards like noon, which would be 0.5, for example. Or let's say 0 is noon. Let's stick with the Stationeers numbers, just to have some foundation. So we're starting at noon, and then the sun rotates around. First, the decrease of irradiation is little. But then the further it gets, the faster that gets, which is reminiscent of a sinus. And we're talking about a circle here, so maybe I should do that then. Just a sinus curve then. Okay. Wasn't divided by 2? I think so. Well, I can do some debug values. maybe should make that public. I can also make it. I can move game data over to things and make it package private. But let's not care about that. This is not production code. It's just me fucking around. So orbit location 0. We rotate around that, and what I want to know then is the noonness. Public float noonness. How noonish is it? Noonness. And the noonness is derived by saying math.sinus orbit location multiplied by tau. No? Tau. What's happening? Oh, it's not static, yeah. Final, see, static is what you say first, but it's not what I say first. Final public static double. The weakest word, which could be changed, then this is a bit more important. Oh, how did I do this? Final private static string, yeah. Final public static double. What is happening? This will result in a double, but I only have float here. Now we want to just see what the simulation would do with this. I will therefore just...
Enter communications.
Yes, Eliza.
Transmissions from Sinfera on Soma FM.
Naming conventions. Semen in your face. So, SB. Or should I make this local? But then it would be created every time. No, don't think about it. The Java virtual machine does that automatically. I shouldn't consider such things. So, final consumer string. No, let's just be blunt about this. Hey, what's happening? Oh, right, I have to add the string builder also. No, I don't. Append line? No, do you add that? New line, please. And then I will just say here, add, accept. This takes of course a bit of this away, but who cares about performance in this application? Then we want to add, well, this is the juice. Now we have to go through all the things. How about that then? Thing dot add to report. I could just hand over the adder. Why not? Of course. That sounds good. Yeah. Why is this not final? Yes, also my method had arguments that are always final if I can help it. Make it as final and as private, as locked down as possible should be the rule, of course, which is why I find it a bit weird. I mean, Java is a super awesome language or platform to come up with that in the first place and develop it with such a large group of people over time and perfect it so much. I mean, hats off. Deep fucking respect. But also I must criticize why is not everything private by default? Why do I have to say that it's private? Why is not everything final by default? Why do I have to say that it's final? Shouldn't I intentionally open it up by saying it's public? For example, now they came up with I mean, what am I saying now? A few years ago already, they came up with a new keyword, which is var. And I hoped that this would mean that this is like the opposite of final. Like you no longer need final in a certain dialect, which you can set at compile time or whatever. And var would just make it variable, while everything that doesn't even have a keyword would be final by default. But no, it's something else. Instead, what they did there was some kind of dynamic type assignment, like we have it in BASIC. Basically, I was happy to move away from that shit to have some explicit definition of what I want and no random crap. You know, I want X, I get X. Not like I wrote this, oh, this resulted in Y, ah shit. I didn't say this something explicitly and the programming language made up its own crap. I don't fucking want that. Anyway, so add to report. Also never null, of course. So add to report. And now what? Let's add that as implement for sun then. Though, wait a second. This thing should have a name, shouldn't it? Let's give it a name. Yeah, we should have a name for the things. So, string get name. Sun. It's a constant, I know, whatever. For now, I mean, we have to move somewhere. Add to report. Then I will just say orbit location. Oh yeah, the thing with the formatting. Maybe I want to move that over. It's not exactly math, but it's closely related to numbers. Should I make a class for string for this? Or we can move that later with refactoring. Which I could have used right now, but like for one line? Seriously? This is faster. Oh, is that private? Now we can say copy reference and use it here where the sun is. And then we also have the noonness. Okay, now the sun would report its inner values. We also have to do that for the solar panel. Let's implement everything here. Get name solar panel. Add to report. Hi. Game data. I feel something's still missing. Let's just run it because that's the best way to get a feel for what that is. So we have the juice, we have the orbit location. Yeah, of course the noonness location is wrong. I would have to basically rotate that, not a problem. I just want to find out if I'm using the sinus wrong, right or wrong. It appears I'm using it very wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have rounded as much. We need more decimal places for analysis. Aha, so we have something rather clear here. Let's make the day a bit faster. I mean, the sun. Let's make that a bit faster. 5 times as fast. Not 5 times faster, that's a stupid use of language. I know it's standard, but I'm not saying that humans are not stupid with this. I'm saying they are. I mean, it's not 5 times larger because it means 5 times and then added to this, but instead it is 5 times as large. Orbit location, noonness. Well, it appears that tau is the wrong value to use here. I would have to use pi times 2, it appears. Or let's just use pi, let's see what happens. No, I didn't mean that. I meant this. Yeah, first I have to get a feel of what's going on here. And also, when the game data does the reporting, I want a headline, please. So we say add nothing, and then we say that again, and we say thing get named to uppercase. No. Alright, I have to add some empty string here. So we have this bouncy thing that goes up from noon, from 0. Ah, right, I should use more decimal places. So it's slowly reaching 1 at the end, and then it accelerates away until it falls basically through to 0. So what we're seeing there is basically the upper hump of the sinus, and then we're reaching the vertical center of the sinus where it would be at its fastest, which is of course bullshit for the application here. So let's just multiply pi, where am I, sun, by 2. Now we get negative values, like we should. So, if the simulation weren't this coarse, should we maybe run it a bit faster, like 4 times per second? Let's do that. Okay, main, though that's a hard choice to make, you know, because if the simulation eventually is established somewhat, then it is, then you would have to change everything around. Everything in every place. I mean, the way this is implemented is rather crappy, I know. So 250, and then the sun should also be less fast. Let's take a look. This feels better, feels more alive. Of course I can afford it with this little crappy program. So we have the opposite of noonness, right? Reaching its peak. And now the sun is moving away from that again at accelerated speed, and now it's on the horizon, rising, rising, rising. Now we're getting more and more sun exposure. Now we're reaching the peak and not much is happening. Now it's moving away from the peak slowly, and then it's fast moving away. So if you do that and multiply that by some kind of wattage or whatever that is coming from the sun, then we will have some kind of realistic-ish solar panel exposure. So now that we have here the simulation, I should write something to game data. We have the noonness that is working. I will now write to game data, whatever that was, game data dot light exposure equals, let's just say 1000 is the value that I arbitrarily use here. 1000 multiplied by noonness. But of course we cannot have a negative light exposure, so we'll say math.max. I want the maximum value of 2 values. The first value should be 0, the other should be this, so we only get the positive numbers. So now we then have night, where there will be no light exposure. The solar panel can then say, okay, we have the night. Let's say game data. Alright, light exposure. Of course, now we have a big problem that Stationeers also sometimes shows. I'm not saying it's wrong, dude. I'm not fucking shitting on what they are doing there. I'm not imagining that I'm a big boss guy who is saying, look how easy this is to do this. Stationeers rocket works. They're suck and they're stupid. I'm not saying something like that at all, because that would be a stupid thing to say. Therefore, it would not be something I say, and you know that. What I'm saying is that when I did some well, they're graph displays. Hey, we should have a graph display. That would be fun. Let's do a graph display. So a game data light exposure to have like the sun moving, give him some feeling of something happening, some gamey feeling, you know. But anyway, the problem would be order of events. In Stationeers, you have a graph display, and I pulled data from a memory chip, and into the memory chip, I wrote a value. Like, for example, what was coming from one wind turbine that was dedicated for the purpose of just giving me that information, how fast the wind was, basically. And then I was writing that to that. But the problem with the graph display is that it will always have a 30-second range, and its maximum value of the graph will always adapt to that's annoying, to the maximum value that has occurred in these 30 seconds. So that was not fun. And so I was artificially creating peaks every 30 seconds or every 25 seconds. That would just be like 200. You know, the wind exposure, wind speed would be like 70 watts coming in on Europa with the upright wind turbine. And I was just writing 200 every once in a while so that the graph would be like stretched. But sometimes that didn't work, and I realized that must be a race condition. I mean, when does the chip receive this value, and when is the value being read? In which order are these things executed by the game simulation? And so in this moment we have a race condition. Sometimes that peak would not be seen, and so what I did to solve that was, of course, I left the peak up there, not for one game step only, but for two. So that would then necessarily work. Here we would have a similar problem, though this light exposure thing is a smooth change, so we wouldn't really feel it. Game data, light exposure, is the value that we have to work with, and then we can say let's say we just add that to the joules. We just add the light exposure to the joules that we have in our station batteries or whatever, this energy storage. What do we get? Lots of stuff. So soon we have night, and then nothing more will come in, and indeed nothing more is coming in. How many joules can we store? It would be cool to just show that as a percentage. Okay. How many joules can we store? Depends on how many batteries we have. So, new class. Let's call it station battery. Implement. What do we have at our disposal? I think. What did I call that? I simulate. Huh? Whatever. Maybe I should rename that. Thing is better. So, and then we do this. Get name. Station battery. Add to report. This will be the charge. We would have multiple values, logic values basically, not capacity and such like that. Let's make the capacity a constant. Maybe an integer is fine. Capacity, yeah, it's a static one. Final public static. In that's wrong. I talked about that. What shall the capacity be? Well, I just saw that number rise right quicker. So let's just say, okay, a joule is watts are joules per second. If we let a light bulb run, a classic one with a filament made of tungsten, 50 watts, that's got some nice brightness for a desktop to work with. Not very bright, but bright enough to work with well if the light bulb is not too far away. So we would then have to store 50 joules to let that thing run for 1 second. 50 joules. 50 watts is joules per second. So a 50 watt bulb would consume 50 joules per second. Now, since we're now beginning to work with actual values, we have to realize that the game step with its 4 seconds will be nailed down. It felt nicely fluent, or was it too fast? I'm not sure. But I think we should do that, yes, because we're not constrained here by having to simulate a 3D environment and all that depth. This is just a toy, so... capacity. I will just say 1 million. This would be 1 megawatt, 1 megajoule. this or this? Right, this one. Okay, that's the capacity. But how full is it? Public float ratio? No, not ratio. Charge. Ratio would be from 0 to 1. Charge is the actual amount of which a ratio would then be derived. Charge is 0. We start with an empty battery. We'll also have a ratio, but not public float ratio. And simulate would then ultimately say ratio is charge divided by capacity. But what's with charge? We don't have to deal with that. That will just happen from outside sources. Add to report. Charge. Charge. And ratio also, why not? And this should be shown in percent, I believe. Times 100, because it's supposed to look like percent. Which is what it is then, of course. It's not looking like it, that's what it is. Capacity, okay, now we have to charge that thing. That is then what we have. Let's add that to our game data. Now we also have a battery, oops, a station battery. And why is that so? Okay. The solar panel now needs to see, I mean, technically it would have to look on cable networks and such, but I will not do this. I will just do other things public. The things are public. Okay, then let's create a list here of all the things that are station batteries. New array list. Iter over game data. Things. Thing. If thing. Instance of station battery. Then we want 2, 3, 4 batteries add. And now we will have a nice thing incoming from the newer Java generations thing. Because now I would have to cast that because it's not the right type. Wait, what's happening? Right, stupid me, I have to do this. Then I would have to do casting. And then it would tell me... It wouldn't? Oh, I thought this would be generating... Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not necessary to do it like this, but we can now write... instance of this is one breath. I find out what type it is, and if it is that type, then let me just create a variable of that type right away, even a final one. Right? Yes, final indeed. So then we add that to battery. Now I want to know what the amount is. Final int amount gleich equals gleich. Sorry, sometimes I'm switching to German. Int amount. Though, do I need that? I basically don't need that. Let's say final double. Double joules. I have the charge being a float. Should I make that a double? I'll make that a double. And that will of course then have to be cast. The ratio doesn't have to be that precise. But the ratio is just a value that I will view or will react to or whatever, but it will not be active in that sense. This though is part of the simulation where things are added and subtracted, and it will be calculated often. So as the more precise this thing is, the less likely I will introduce rounding errors and such. Therefore double. 64-bit instead of 32. So now we have the amount of batteries. Now final double. New charge per battery shall be this divided by size. In other words, I don't need this as a variable, or as a constant. I know, I always say variable, even if it's a final as in constant. Then we cannot add to the joules, we can now iterate over the batteries. Why do I even add them to a list? Because then I don't have to do this type check twice. Okay, then iterate over the batteries and say battery dot charge new charge per battery. So that will be equally charged. What happens now? Probably an error, yeah, because here I'm showing the joules. I can't, because they don't exist anymore. Instead, we have station batteries. We have one station battery, it has charged, it has a ratio that is reaching its peak rather quickly. Oh no, 1%. So, how big is that station battery? We have 1,000. Let's see. Huh, what's happening? Oh, it's night. Interesting, huh? Already the thing is becoming slightly dynamic, slightly surprising. Of course, the day speed is ridiculous, but all I have to do is slow down the orbit of the sun. Problem solved. What a difference a day makes. So let's think about this. So, a light bulb 50 watts, which would be 50 joules then to run it for 1 second. If I have 1,000 joules, then that would be running that for 20 seconds. 1,000 joules would run that for 20 seconds. And that's nothing for a station battery. So our station battery is woefully underpowered. Maybe we should do a station battery calculation based upon light bulbs. Why not? So let's say we have a 50 watt bulb. And we want to run that thing for 60 seconds. And then we have a minute. Then we want to run it for 60 minutes, so we have an hour. And we want to run that for 24 hours. We want to run a light bulb for 24 hours. What capacity do we get? Maybe I should show the capacity here also. Oh. Why is the charge being shown like this? Did I not format this? I didn't. Now we can do something pretty awesome. I can say pause. Yeah, now wherever I am, doesn't matter. Where's there's the window? I cannot get the window in front. Oh my god. Oh, you didn't see the window the whole time. Oh, fuck, do I have to re-record this? Ah, come on, that sucks. I don't even have, Ah, man, I have to start over. I don't want to start over. But you can't start this over and do it again, that's just bullshit. So, I'm sorry about that, but I have to rearrange a few things. 1 second. God damn it, I'm stupid. I even have a preview window up here that shows me what's visible, but obviously my mind was occupied with other things. Now we have the window up, you can finally see something happening. See, I mean, what do you expect me to do? Should I re-record this, start from scratch? This was all natural flow, things happening for real. Am I supposed to simulate that, pretend? Or just build upon the source code? That's boring. I don't know what to do now. I will just continue. It's just a crappy situation. You have to live with that. Being on this channel is crappy, you know that? Okay, so here we can see the battery ratio during the day. It is charging a little bit, but the days are pretty short. And what I wanted to say, we can do something pretty awesome now. We can just pause that whole thing. Let's go back to station battery, and I can say just format this. Recompile and continue running. What? Never seen that before. So continue running then. Now we should have that formatted. Yep. Okay, that charges only during the day. We could also have a wind turbine up and then play with wind speed and such, but I think that is too fiddly for too little payout. So now we would have that. We would have a solar panel that converts the sun's incoming light to electricity, and that electricity is being stored in the station battery. That's a nice start. Now I would like to have some graph that shows us what does it show. For example, the sun, where the sun is, a day-night thing maybe with darkness and brightness and such. Just an indicator, pretending that we have colors and I don't know. Well, let's change the layout then. Instead of adding this directly to the content pane, I will say final jpanel. Grid layout. How many rows do we want? We want, one. And how many columns do we want? 2, because I want a vertical list on the left side, which is the text. On the right side, I will also want one. On the right side, then I will add in the northern half, which means I have to do this. This thing. Pan grid. Add text. And then we also add pan grid inner, then pan grid inner, add new J label. I want to test what's happening. Test. Then here we have to add the pan grid. Now restart the whole thing. Does this work? Will ops show that? Aha, okay, I was going by name. Okay, that's kind of working. Maybe I should make the window a bit bigger, huh? Also, I wanted the border to be white, so I can probably create line border with the thickness color dot white, and the thickness shall be. Didn't I say something about black and I prefer that? Why don't I just make the text black? The text printout. Or does it make sense? So some graphics could be dark, but then this would scream in our way. Oh, no, I will make it dark. I will make it black. So let's change the text background. That should look better. Though the text is now black-ish. That's not right. So change the text color then. Font, well, I will keep it at that size. It's, I mean, not everybody watches this on 4K, right? So, and on the right side, we want to make some graphics that express the day and night situation. That would be nice. Well, let's just make a day-night display then. Day-night display. And that shall we extend jpanel? Does that make sense? Yeah. Then I will just override its paint method with my own stuff. Don't think we need to transform. The day-night display shall be on the right. Don't know if I need this public, so let's not make it public then. No, let's make it public. The sun is a special thing, it will just call this. Day-night display, day-night display. And this shall then be on the right. And it shall be set by the sun. So we go here to the sun, and then we say main. See, that's why I put this static thing in there. Set. Should I use a setter? Yeah, well, I want to also update this to make sense. Let's say set day, night, or whatever, or noonness. Noonness. Yeah, set noonness, and we just add that here. So we set the noonness. Now I want to create a day-night scenario using colors. So should we transition from day color to night color? I would say so, though that would be from bright day, then we get some kind of dawn dusk coloring, and then we get the night. So that would be a bit tricky to do. I guess I need an array of colors here. What's happening? Okay. Okay, let's say we start at noon, of course. No, the noonness is a value that expresses from -1 to 1. And I would just start at midnight then. Let's make midnight. What many people might not know, or which is also sadly not put into practice by game developers, is that during the night our color, our situation, our color perception is weakened. And so if you want to express night, I mean, usually in games everything is a little bit darker and so forth, but in principle we're still almost using the full brightness of spectrum, only we're using different colors. I mean, okay, it is darker, yeah, it is. But what we should also do is we should also desaturate this a bit, I think, because everybody's screen setup is different, so they might adjust it, and then it does no longer feel night. But how about we desaturate that? That would be should be a thing, I think. Anyway, night. Let's say we have it rather dark here, and a bit desaturated, so we add the other colors too. That's too purple. Okay, that's a nice dusky color right there. But it's not what I was going for. I wanted midnight. I wanted lemon lime. AD. It's too saturated. So that has to be darker. Has to be darker then. Let's make a noon color so that we know what we're working with. Of course, it shall be as bright as it can be. Should have a lot of green. Yeah, that looks like a nice noon color for the sky. well, this is almost the same color as this, and if you're thinking automatic transition of RGB values, then we don't have to store this here at all. So let's just put a dawn dusk value here, which will be way more red, I think, and not as dark. So yeah, let that be our day-night values. I don't know if that makes sense. Now let's turn that into somehow a gradient. We have to derive the color. I have to do some color math here. I already have stuff like that in my library, but I don't want to use it for two reasons. One, I want to do everything from scratch, and two, I don't want don't want to show you all the things that are potentially in there, which is what's its face? Well, names and possibly the company I work at and all of that. I don't want that. So anyway, so graphics. Now I'm triggered. I have to search on the internet. Please don't, okay? Lean the fuck back and enjoy the show instead of being an asshole about it. As I will find you in special set of skills and such, because the skills that you have, I also have doubly so. I can promise you that. Now, noonness. I have to. Well, let's just first paint the entire thing in the color. The color. So final color col. This is of course primitive, but I wanna get somewhere, so I have to take baby steps. What this shall do now, it shall take the noonness and create the transitionary value between these. Okay, so we have to find out where we stand here. Which color is to be used? Which color index is to be used? Final float. Color index shall be the size of the length of this array multiplied by, the noonness will be a value from 0 to 1, but maybe we should, no, we don't. I will just keep it unbounded. I hope it will work. Hey, wait, the noonness? Is that a negative value then? Oh, it's private. Noonness is... Aha, noonness is just a natural sinus outcome. Nice. From -1 to 1. Right. So I will just say noonness plus 1 divided by 2, and then we'll have a value from, not from -1 to 1, but from 0 to 1. Now it's a value from 0 to 2, and now it's a value from 0 to 1. I multiply that by the amount of thingies I have here, but that's also not right, because I cannot say go to... I have 3 things here. 1, 2, 3 things, and the index will be 0, 1, 2. The outcome here, though, will be based upon the length. I must not do that. I will say length -1, so we get a value from 0 to and including 2. Then I have to find out which of the colors I want and to what degree, and then I have to transition the RGB values and create a new color and return it. And then we will paint basically based upon day and night the entire rectangle there. And later I will just divide that by half horizontally, and at the bottom we will have some ground color that will be brighter and darker in a similar-ish way. So in other words, what we want here is private color x fade. Maybe I should just fetch that from my library just quick. That makes sense. Here we go. Crossfade. See, I'm crossfading the colors. But which color to crossfade? That's the question, and how to crossfade them. There are probably more elegant ways to do this, but... So, final int edx a shall be color index cast to integer, and idxb would then be color index Well, +1. That should be +1. But that doesn't make sense sometimes. I don't know if this makes sense. This is probably complete bullshit, but anyway. Return X fade. Fade position. I still have to do that, and not alpha. We don't want the transparency itself to be faded over also. But what is the difference? What is the ratio? Well, simple. It will be color index modulo 1. That's what it should be in principle. I'm not sure. Hey, is this working already? Aha, so there we have a problem. Out of index 3 out of bounds for length 3. Oh, right. I did something wrong. The minimum here, which was supposed to protect this, doesn't protect it at all. The index must be -1, of course. Noonness. Now we're at noon. Now it's moving away from noon. Now we're at the horizon, which is this purplish color. And now we're reaching midnight. And now we're leaving midnight, arriving at dawn again. Well, it's not shit. I'm actually surprised. But I mean, the horizon color, I don't know if the purple color makes sense. Maybe it does, but not this much, basically. So let's use the color editor that we have here.
You had this the whole time, you asshole?
Yes. Make it a bit brighter and maybe a bit more on the red side. Okay, this isn't exactly Photoshop level color editing, where you would uphold the brightness and such. This is just an RGB editor. So let's keep doing it like this. 90, 50, 60. So by doing this, I make sure that the purplish horizon color, I mean, when dawn-dusk situation, will not show up for like half the time, but only in a certain phase. How bright do we make this? Can I just reduce the brightness? Does that make sense? Brightness, brightness, brightness. We don't have that here. Oh, we do have that here. Okay, what happens now? Oh, it's not dark enough yet. Also, this purple color. Let's just see what happens. So we're starting at. We should also show the sun itself as a circle that is moving above and below the horizon. Yeah, it's nice. Oh, it gives a bit of feeling now, doesn't it? I mean, with all these crappy memes. Man, I fucking curses that I forgot to record that window. Bocce. Not starting ovary. Starting ovary. Ha ha. Will you have a child? Yes. Will it be a daughter? Yes. Starting ovary. So then let's have the ground there. Which color shall the ground have? I would just say we say brown, and then we just modulate that with some constants. So derive sky color, or derive color sky. And we don't need that stored, you can just put that here. And then we will also derive color ground. And then make the ground, which is in case of rounding error. I mean, yep. I will just make sure that we certainly have everything covered, so it's just a line too many, who cares. The ground color, what shall that be then? Let's first start with the definition up here, because we wanted to keep that consistent. And what is that? It's the sky gradient. Isn't that... do we not have color brown? Oh. Okay, then let's make one. That's shit. So, 60, 20, 10 maybe. Yep, that's brown. Bit too brown. Should I make it rather green? So we have green meadow. Now let's just stick with something that we would mine where there are no trees. Or should we have trees? We can also have trees. For example. Well, and then we can do some terraforming if the trees die. What are the limits? I mean, that's the thing. The simulation is so crappy, but it also allows us to do all kinds of stuff. In theory. Okay, we have a nice brown color here, desaturated. That's ground color during the night or during the day? I should make one that is much brighter. Hello? I'm clicking. Please respect my clicks. Dude? It's no longer just doing the thing. Oh, you were probably not even seeing the color editor, huh? Man, I should take more care to see the projector. I will make it a bit bigger. Then it's in the way of the source code, of course, but Yeah, that looks like an okayish ground color. And this then shall become darker during the night. So once again, we take the noonness thingy here. And we change it. That would be noonness is from -1 to 1. Now it's from 0 to 2, divided by 2 is 1. So the nooner it is, the brighter it is. Then we can just say, maybe we need to... Hey, there's an idea. Does it still work? Yeah, now it works again. Oh, you see that. Okay. Now I see that you see. If anyone is still watching this crap. Now, ground day, ground during the day could be even more bluish. I mean, after all, we have the sunlight, right? I mean, this seems like it's too blue, but in context, when the sky is there, it would probably feel correct. And during the night, less saturated, maybe? So these are the two colors that I would transition then, using the X-fade. Then I will just return X-fade from ground night, ground day. This is the value, and this I don't want to use. What's its face? Maybe the ground should be a bit darker during the night, huh? but it is giving some feeling, right? I mean, it's just a little postmark in that corner of that window, but I mean, who's to say that it shouldn't be the backdrop of everything? Which can also be done in 10 minutes, I guess. But then I would have to go full screen, and currently it's very convenient that I have this running in this little window here. So, the darkness of the night shall be deeper. I don't know if that's the correct color here. Anyway, now we want the sun. And during the day it shall be overground, and during the night it shall be an empty circle underground and black. That I think should be. How do I even make a circle here? Right. Let's first have some kind of oscillating thing going on. The sun shall be painted last. Of course I have to paint the sun twice, because it would be cut in half at some point, and I would just use tricks to make that happen. Just a hack. Some pixels painted multiple times, basically. So, final shape. Circle, or sun. What was that? What was that? Oval? No. Ellipsis? Ellipsis 2D, yeah. Float should be fine. Then we have to have the location of this thing. Let's say, well, width divided by 2. We only need that value once, so why store it? And then the vertical value should be sun vertical. Width and height. I don't know, width divided by 10, I guess. Or by 20. Where is the sun vertical? Well, the sun vertical depends on the noonness multiplied by half. Well, not really that. Should be a little bit less. So let's say by h multiplied 0.4, and I want to multiply that by. No, I have to add half. H half.
You thumb.
What the fuck? I'm just of a nation. Are you fucking racist? So what's this? What's the problem here? Cannot resolve constructor. Float in, float in. Right, something's missing. The height. Huh. That seems a bit wasteful. What do we have here? Integer and floating point context. In other words, I'm kind of wasting. This is just a warning. Like, maybe you're doing it wrong. Could that be? You know? Huh? So, that's the sun, now we need to draw it. And of course we need to set a color first. And I would say, plain simply, the sun is white. Because whatever color it has, it's so bright it will be white. I don't see any sun though. What's the problem? I don't know. Ellipse to the float. Sun vertical. Maybe the sun vertical is the problem. So let's just give it a fixed position. And oh right, of course, stupid me. That's not our location where you want the sun to be. It shall be the horizontal center. Ah, here we go. There's the sun. And we can see it has jagged edges. We can change that. It's cool. I can click on the source code and the window is gone. Z order, but you can still see it. That's pretty good, but only fucking next time I have to think of that first, in the first place. So, g.set rendering hints. What? Oh. Anti-aliasing. Key anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing on. Something wrong? What's the matter, man? Okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Yep. That's what this is. So I can just recompile on the fly and we should see, now it's as anti-aliasing. Okay, that's not what the sun would do, because during the night it's night, not day. Then I will just invert this. Okay, that's that. Now let's make sure that during the night it's just a black circle that is empty, which means that it will paint the ground afterwards. So now we have the sun sinking into the ground, but I still want it visible. And so I will just say not fill, but draw. And what's all that? God damn it. Okay, that done goofed. Now we see that all the time. I could set a clip. I could use a graphics clip. Aha, okay. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, only that stupid black circle needs to go. So let's create a clip here. G.set clip. New rectangle. That rectangle shall be from 0 to width, and it shall start. Oh no, it shall from 0, and it shall start at h half, which is where the bottom begins, and the width shall be width, and the height shall be h half. I want to restore the original clip after that. No, damn. And original clip. Aha, now we no longer see the stupid black circle, but once it's night, we will see the sun is going away, but we still see where it is. Alrighty, now we have day, night, solar panel, some battery, but all of that is pretty pretty boring. Maybe one of the reasons is not just how simple the simulation is, but also that you can't do anything with it. I wouldn't know where to go with this right now, and since the video, apart from the stupid botched beginning, was not complete crap, I will just end this here, because the next steps might be stupid, and then I can just scrap that video, haha, and pretend as if it never happened. Lying to you, like I always do. Yeah, so, end of story. Good night.